Reddittors who were born deaf? Do subtitles like dogs barking and tense music help even if you've never heard them? What do you imagine them to be like? I'm deaf and it helps. I haven't heard a dog bark, but I understand why a dog barks, and combine that with the body language of a dog and the scene makes more sense. Yes, they help. Movies, TV shows, games, etc. use sound to convey emotions or danger or information and so on. By not subtitling those, deaf people miss out on a lot. I was playing the Fable franchise recently, and apparently there's gargoyles in the game that insult you and goad you into shooting them or something. I would have never known if I hadn't read about it, because those insults aren't subtitled. I didn't even know gargoyles were a thing until I was nearly done with Fable 2. To answer your question, I don't imagine them as sounds. That's impossible to do. I imagine the emotions they were meant to convey. Dogs barking means there's something disturbing the monsieur. Tense music means shit is getting real. Other things like phone rings tells us what noise the people in the scene are responding to. Subtitling everything 100% helps. I'm deaf. It definitely brings the story to life. Deaf people are incredibly visual. We want as much information as possible. If the storyteller is insisting on certain sounds or music to evoke feelings, then I would also like to know and have those feelings, too. Edit. Holy moly, the conversations y'all are having under this are amazing. I'm deaf and it helps in certain contexts. If it's just a shot of a farm and it says dog barking, it's out of context, so it's like whatever. But if it says dog barking to warn the person, it definitely helps in that context. It also depends on how good the subtitles are. Netflix is superb at doing subtitles, but cable TV is that good, so by the time the subtitles come up, it's already a different scene or different convo. My old friend's mom was deaf. I asked her once and she kinda shrugged and said, I imagine ominous music to be like when my kids sneak up on me. I used to work in subtitling and both my parents are completely deaf, so I know a bit about this. Subtitles like dog barking do help, as they are usually included if they are plot relevant. Hence they can follow it better and understand why someone looked up from their book in the show or whatever. Tense music and the like does not really help much beyond telling them the mood of the scene, as they have no real conception of what sound is. Which answers your second question. My mom compares it to trying to explain color to a blind person. I'm moderately hearing impaired, but not deaf, so this doesn't quite answer your question, but I thought I'd chime in. I really appreciate these kinds of subtitles, as they can add context and help communicate something non-visual that the show or movie creator wanted the audience to pick up on. The sound of a dog barking may be the only hint they give that a family owns a dog, which becomes a plot point later. Tense music can prime the audience, me, to be on edge despite a scene otherwise seeming calm and relaxed. Mad respect to whoever's in charge of Netflix's subtitles, because they are absolutely top-notch. Deaf person here. These types of subtitles help set the mood and provide some sort of foreshadowing to events that might occur. For example, when watching a horror movie, a hearing person might leave as a cue once they hear eerie music. As a deaf person who's not a huge fan of horror movies, I cannot tell you how many times I'm so grateful for subtitles like that. Think of it like constant jump scares. I've been wondering this lately also. I started using closed captions so I don't have to have the TV volume blasting all the time. And now I'm addicted to closed captions. Indistinct chatter. Hi, I'm deaf, but I actually knows what they sound like. I listen through vibrations, like Toph did with her earth bending in Atla. So I know most of basic sounds, and I always appreciate seeing subtitles like those examples for context, 'cause it can be harder for me to decipher sounds from the television. My stepbrother is deaf and he tells me that when stuff comes on TV like that, he will look it up online and feel the vibration so that he can understand what means. I wear bilateral cochlear implants, so I don't think I completely qualify to answer, but I will say that sometimes I miss important details in the sounds and music in TV shows and movies. And it does really help to set the tone of the movie for me and understand things I wouldn't otherwise if I hadn't heard the specific thing. I read on Reddit once before, deaf people don't even realize erections make a noise. Even though I've never known what the sound is like, at least I can imagine some sort of sound that a dog would make. It still helps me understand what is going on in the movie. Not born deaf, but am hard of hearing and interacted with enough deaf people to at least give a response to both questions that I can't find anywhere on the comments. Subtitles relating to sounds like dog barking, door slam are, at least for the folks I know and myself, help us understand a scene better. Especially more so for a scene beyond the screen edges. So like subtitles that shows dog barking, but the screen shows a kid in the backyard in front of a fence, would just let us know that hey, there's probably a dog behind the fence or at least nearby somewhere. Or say a horror movie with a girl on a bed, and suddenly jumps but the subtitle says door slams. But we see no door, but we understand that the girl was spooked, scared because she hear a door slam somewhere. What do you imagine them to be like? Again, this is from my own experience and the people I know, but sounds that we have never heard of. If it's folks like myself who is not born deaf, but never heard of it either, for example, raised in an environment that just so happens to not have a dog present, we will just imagine a sound that we think would best fit based on what we currently know. We could be spot on, or completely off. Best example I can think of is YouTube Mikhail from Drakengard 3 and Smaug from The Hobbit. Both are dragons, but the voice is completely different. However, when I asked the folks who were born 100% deaf, sound is more of a visual or the sense of vibration intensity. But for what it actually sounds like, it was blank, like asking a person born blind to describe the color of the sky. It's blank and ultimately meaningless. Like before I ever heard what the trees rustling from the wind sounds like. So when someone says, "Oh, the trees are whispering," I would know that they're referring to the wind blowing through the trees, but I have no idea what it actually sounds like. When I did finally hear the noise, I still didn't know what it was, even though I was looking at it till someone told me what it was. Not a single deaf person and a bunch of stupid assholes speculating. There was an old PSA TV commercial a while back that I wish I could find, but it showed the same scene, just panning a kitchen with lights streaming in. I think they played it once with ominous music and again with happy morning music. There might have also been one with a rainforest scene with the same idea. It was to raise awareness about how important good captions are, and it did a good job of conveying how much could be lost if it doesn't include some of that info when it's important. It may provide helpful context, like if said noise is relevant to the plot even if they don't know what it sounds like. It may help with overall comprehension of the storyline to know that at this time a dog barked. Hello Redditors who are hearing impaired. I'd like to ask, how do jump scares affect you? A big part of it is sudden loud noises that accompanies the scary imagery. Since you don't hear the building tense music nor the sudden loud one, does that take away from you experiencing jump scares? Many at-home movie watchers will tell that the key to not being as scared is to turn down, if not mute, the volume of a scary movie when you know the jump scare is coming. Finally, one I can answer. I was born deaf, but have a cochlear implant. This means with it on, I can hear perfectly fine. When it breaks, the subtitles do help. It makes me think the sound, as I have heard it,